Hey, this is Jen. Welcome to That Farm Charm. Today we're doing a DIY upcycled farmhouse wood sign. This could be a shelf sitter or could hang on your wall or could easily go as part of a wreath. So everything that I bought for this project came from the Dollar Tree with the exception of the paint and also the sign itself, which came from my local Goodwill. I paid $1.50 for it. So I got busy taking the ribbon hanger out of it. We weren't going to use that, so I got rid of it. And then I wanted to paint this a neutral color. I chose a light tan. Now the paint that I chose, because I went with light tan and I was painting over some greens and pinks, it did not cover in one coat. So I went ahead and I covered it in one coat. I use the blow dryer to blow dry it faster. You'll see as I'm doing that, the paint colors are bleeding through. So then I gave it a second coat and was really hoping that's all I would have to do. And I didn't have to go ahead with a third full coat. The second coat covered it for the most part. I did have to go touch it up in a few places after I dried it. The edges on this piece had not previously been painted, and I thought maybe I could get away with only one coat, but as you'll see when I turn this in a moment, the edges did not make it with one coat. They also needed two coats. So I went back around every edge and gave it a second coat and dried it. Now, if you're working with these paints from Walmart, these apple barrel paints, they actually dry very quickly. Don't let this video deceive you. When I do a video where I'm going to show you what I'm doing, I want it to be dried quickly so that I can move forward quickly and get the project done. So that's the only reason I'm using the dryer. If you are doing this project or a similar project using these apple barrel paints, know that they dry quickly and you can get them to dry on their own in about 10 minutes if the coat is fairly thin. Okay, now I've taken some of the dark brown by Apple Barrel and I am just distressing the main board of this project. I did not do the same thing to the oval raised piece in the center. I actually left that the tan neutral. But I went over the main board with the dark brown to distress it and I thought that looked real nice. Now I'm moving on to the Hope cutout. This came from the Dollar Tree. It's just an unfinished piece. I actually used the same brush that I had used for that dark brown, and I did do that on purpose because once I got the word Hope all painted, which by the way, painting these little cutouts isn't the easiest. There's lots of little intricacies, so you'll want to be diligent about that so it will look the best it can look. But I knew once I was done painting it, I was going to distress this as well with that dark brown, so it really didn't matter if I used the same brush. So I'm using the dryer here to get it dry, now going back and touching up places that I've missed. For the most part, one coat was all this took. It was an unfinished piece of wood with no previous paint on it. So I'm just drying it now to get that finished, and then I'm going to take a piece of 150 grit sandpaper and I'm just going to go over the Hope and the sides, the edge of it, just to make sure that it's sanded pretty nice. These pieces can be a little finicky with some wood sticking out. Then I went back over that with a dry brush with the dark brown, and look how good that looks. I was very, very happy with how that looks. All right, at this point, I kind of boo-booed. So I wanted to put a Bible verse at the bottom, and so I was using a white paint marker from Walmart to do that. I wrote it on, and after I got it all written on, I went ahead and attached my wood cutout of the word Hope with some hot glue. After I did that, I decided I'd go ahead and put the hanger, but I was really not liking that written at the bottom. So I used some jute twine to put the hanger on. I did 3 knots on each side in the front. And then I took my tan paint and went back over where I had written the Bible verse because I was not happy with how it looked. Now, if you watch, I get the dryer a little close to that far corner, and what happened was my paint bubbled. So I had to take some sandpaper, I had to sand it off, repaint it again, dry it again, and this time I didn't get it too close. So that's a note. Don't get it too close. Then I distressed it again. So at this point, I'm back to my original distressed main piece, no Bible verse, and I like it much better. I decided I'd go ahead and put a bow. I'm doing the refab bow, which is basically crisscrossing ribbon and then tying it in the center. I always use twine. It seems to hold very well, doesn't slip. If you're using these ribbons from the Dollar Tree like I was, most of them have the wire on the edges, and that makes it really easy to position your bow and make it exactly how you want it to look once you get it made. I did get my twine just a little too far to one side, and I had to adjust that here, but overall it was a real nice bow. I ended up putting it on the lower right hand side. I used some hot glue to secure it. I thought the color of the burlap, the green burlap, matched the paint that I used on Hope very well. Then I had an old piece of burlap, actually it's a wide burlap ribbon, but a piece that I'd cut off from another project that I kept because I keep everything guys. And then I hot glued that on the upper right hand corner. I used my scissors to hold it down so I did not burn myself like I did when I was in Indiana. Don't burn yourself, guys. Be careful. Fluffed my bow a little, and look, all done. It is an adorable piece that can be used in so many ways. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and visit us on thatfarmcharm.com.